We totally get it. We publish a ton of content on this podcast, and it can be a lot to keep up with. That's why we've started the B2B Growth Big Three, a no fluff email that boils down our three biggest takeaways from an entire week of episodes. Sign up today at sweetfishmedia.com/big3. That's sweetfishmedia.com/big3.
You're listening to B2B Growth, a daily podcast for B2B leaders. We've interviewed names you've probably heard before, like Gary Vaynerchuk and Simon Sinek, but you've probably never heard from the majority of our guests. That's because the bulk of our interviews aren't with professional speakers and authors. Most of our guests are in the trenches leading sales and marketing teams. They're implementing strategy. They're experimenting with tactics. They're building the fastest growing B2B companies in the world. My name is James Carberry. I'm the founder of Sweetfish Media, a podcast agency for B2B brands, and I'm also one of the co-hosts of this show. When we're not interviewing sales and marketing leaders, you'll hear stories from behind the scenes of our own business. We'll share the ups and downs of our journey as we attempt to take over the world. Just kidding. Well, maybe. Let's get into the show.
Welcome back to the B2B Growth Show. I'm your host for today's episode, Logan Lyles with Sweetfish Media. I'm joined today by Matt Davis. He is the Director of Brand Marketing and Communications at Adaptive Medical Partners. Matt, how you doing today, sir?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me, Logan. I'm really excited about it.
Absolutely. I've enjoyed our conversations. We've had some good chats on LinkedIn and offline, and excited to have you share with listeners here today, man. We're going to be talking about the power of data visualization for your sales team. You guys have been seeing some great results with this approach in your field sales efforts. Before we jump straight into that, Matt, for folks who aren't familiar with you, tell us a little bit about your journey through marketing and what you and the team at AMP are up to these days.
Yeah, most of my background has been in B2B marketing. Spent some time with Capital One, spent some time with a smaller consulting firm in Dallas, Clark Consulting. Then I ran a technology company for about 5 years, text message marketing and communications. And then I'm into healthcare recruiting now. So this is my first foray into healthcare and recruiting at the same time. It's been a great journey, but at AMP, we are a retained physician recruiting firm. So we work with hospitals and group practices all over the country, helping them fill open positions anywhere from positions like a nurse practitioner all the way up to orthopedic spine surgeon.
And you mentioned specifically, you guys are dealing in a unique market right now with the shortage of physicians to facilities, right? As we were talking a little bit offline, Matt.
Yeah, the fact is that we're in the throes of a physician shortage. There are more jobs open than there are available physicians. And so as we're helping our clients navigate this physician shortage, as you can imagine, when there's a lot more facilities and practices vying for this limited pool of candidates, we've got to do what we can to help our salespeople set themselves apart, and then also help our clients have a good picture of the physician landscape when they're going out and trying to recruit a new provider.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you guys are dealing with some pressures in the market, a lot of change going on in the space that you're in. Definitely not one of my areas of expertise, either healthcare or recruiting. So excited to hear from you specifically, how this application of data visualization and better equipping your sales team in this area has yielded some results, because I think it has implications and some lessons for B2B marketers and sales teams who aren't in healthcare and or recruiting. So I know the first thing you wanted to touch on here, I think, is a really important one, Matt, is that when you're looking at arming your sales team with data visualization elements to help in their sales process, that you focus not on data about your company. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Right. Yeah. It's that you're right on. What I say is the data is not about you. It's about your prospect in the marketplace. So when we're looking at providing data to a prospective client, we're going out and showing them kind of what the physician landscape looks like around the specialty that they're looking for. So we provide salary data, kind of what the market is paying. We provide a range there. We provide numbers just in terms of, how many physicians are in that specialty from, we look at nationwide, the state level, and then within 250 miles of their location. Then we give them a map view as well. And then there's also, with the healthcare shortage, there's also mental health and primary care health shortages. In each state and each county is different. So we give them kind of a visualization to see that and be able to look at their specific state and then even their specific county to see what level of shortage of healthcare they're dealing with. So it just helps paint a picture for our clients of kind of that landscape around the shortage and what they need to be doing to make sure their recruiting efforts are being utilized in a fashion that is most beneficial and most efficient for them.
hmm Yeah. So the first thing here, if you're going to equip your sales team from a marketing or a sales enablement perspective with some data visualization elements, is you want to focus on data that is specific to your customer and about their market, not about, trends you see and your growth or things about your company. So I think that's really important. The next thing I know you mentioned as we were chatting offline, Matt, was that it might be information that they know already, but it brings it to life. Can you tell us a little bit more about where you guys have seen that? Maybe some of the tools you're using, some examples of the ways that you've taken maybe some boring looking data and brought it to life if you're using, tools like Tableau or something along those lines with your field sales teams.
Yeah, so it's interesting. We're not using any tools like Tableau or anything like that. I actually can do some graphic design, so I use Illustrator and kind of went in and built a template. And basically, this information changes obviously prospect to prospect. But we put some map views in with beacons to kind of show them where the physicians are located throughout the state, nationwide, within the 250 miles. And then just how it looks. I think it's important to note that, and this kind of goes back to number one. It's the data is not about you, but the only thing on there that even mentions us is our logo. Everything else is about the prospect, the physician landscape. On average, our PDF has 18 words, and there's not one complete sentence. So it's taking that data and really making it easily digestible, and also making it digestible so that they can share it with their colleagues. Because I think it's kind of human nature as we social media is just everywhere. We catch ourselves all the time saying, "Hey, did you see that thing on Facebook? Or did you see that thing on Instagram?" And it's always an image. No one's ever going, "Hey, did you? Let me show you this 2,000 word article I just read." You just can't digest that easy. That's something that someone would have to email to you and something that you can read. But this visualization, it really brings it to life, and they can digest a lot of information in mere seconds.
hmm Yeah, I love that concept of, making the information digestible, but also making it somewhat repeatable for your team, right? Like if you
Right.
find that certain elements are going to be valuable and it's information that you can bring to life for your target market about, their competition, their market, their specific geographic region, maybe some of those factors are going to differ from prospect to prospect, as you mentioned, but there are going to be certain key elements that you're going to use over and over again. So even if you don't have additional data visualization tools or a large graphic design team, you can start with determining what are the elements that would be important to clients. How can we represent that? Now we can kind of plug and play and make the tweaks so that we can do this pretty efficiently and at
Right.
scale even, right?
Yeah. And, one thing I meant to mention earlier was in doing research on data visualization, I was just looking at figures and statistics around data in general. And I found a statistic that said that 73% of data goes unused. And that could be data on the company, their customers, the prospects, and the marketplace. So I've kind of come up with a one-liner, if you will, that visual data is better data. So that's really what we're trying to do here. And I'm even looking at it in some of our email communications with physicians we have around opening positions. Instead of just sending that information over in a boring plain text email, we're actually looking at building some infographics for that kind of just sets the job apart and makes it a little bit more interesting to read versus the other job postings that they're getting.
hmm Yeah. I think I'm going to steal your tagline there. See if I can. I'll attribute it to you for at least the first 4 or 5 times.
Hey,
Is
there we
that fair,
go.
Matt? Okay, awesome. So the next thing I know you guys have seen in using this sort of repeatable presentation of data visually and equipping your sales team is that you're seeing from clients that it shows that you've invested in them because you've put time in, not just showing up, not just sending a salesperson to their office or to a conference call or whatever the case might be, but it shows that you put some time in before you even had a conversation with them, right?
Right. And that's what I stress to everyone here is, hey, we want to constantly be adding value, and as a salesperson, what I talk to our team is you want to be exchanging value for time. I can't take credit for that. I heard that somewhere else. I can't remember it where I heard it, but that's something that stuck with me is because we know that there's 5 companies like us that have called the CEO or the administrator before us, and there's going to be another 5 after us. So, what are we doing to set ourselves apart? But what are we doing to truly show the people that we're trying to work with that, hey, we really are a partner and we're really interested in your success? And it's not just about screaming about what we do, how good we do it, and all the recent placements we've had and whatnot, and how awesome our team is. But hey, this is really about you, and I want to add value to what you're doing, even if they don't do business with us.
Mhm.
This is not something. This data we're providing them is not something that we're providing them after they've become a client. This is data before.
Mhm.
So they may be sending this data to our competition because they chose to go with them. It is what it is. But we're here to add value and create true partnerships with our clients.
Yeah, we're very much aligned with you guys there, Matt. I think there's no mistaking that when you add value independent of your product or service, then you set yourself apart, especially when you are in a crowded, noisy, competitive marketplace. And I think we have listeners from all sorts of different industries who listen to the show, and every one of them would raise their hand silently right now as they're listening to the show, wherever they might be listening, and say, "Yeah, I'm in a noisy, crowded, competitive marketplace," and they might
Right.
be in 50 different industries. I think that holds true. I love the point that you're making there of, this, what you're sending the salespeople out with is something that's valuable, something that's focused on them, something that has very little beating your chest, we, this is why AMP is the best, but it
Exactly.
actually attracts people to your brand because you are delivering value. I was listening to another podcast the other day, and they were talking about sales emails and how often, no longer it's just the subject line, but the first line of the email is now we're typically able to preview that on our phones, right? And how
Right.
often do we see sales emails that I thought this, we have done this, and basically the guest was saying you just weed all over the prospects inbox. And I was like,
Right.
wow, that's a good one, because that's essentially what you're doing is it does not look valuable. It looks like every other email. And despite our accolades, despite the great things we've done for our clients, no matter what product or service you're offering, you hit the nail on the head there, Matt. There are 5 people before us and 5 people after us, and they're all saying the same thing. We're the best because of this. Like, if you've ever been to a sales training and had people stand up and give their value prop one after another, you start to get a taste of what prospects hear who are seeing salespeople getting cold emails, getting cold calls. And we forget that a little bit about how we can just fade into the background. So I love the way that you're talking about leading with value, delivering high impact data in a visual way that's easily digestible.
All right, today's growth story is about search engine marketing. Clear Company is an HR tech company that was doing a lot of things right. Their messaging was clear, their product produced incredible results, but they were struggling to drive qualified traffic to their website. Then they found Directive Consulting, a B2B search marketing agency. Within the first 12 months of working with Directive, Clear Company was able to increase their qualified lead volume by 157%. I have a hunch that Directive can get these kind of results for you too. So head over to directiveconsulting.com and request a totally free custom proposal. That's directiveconsulting.com. All right, let's get back to this interview.
So, what are some of the feedback and results you are seeing from your sales team since you guys have implemented this, Matt?
Well, my sales team loves it, or should I say our sales team, is just because they know it's something that helps set them apart. So they're eating it up. And then in terms of prospects, specifically, we had a director of physician recruitment the other day that told one of our salespeople that they were impressed and specifically stated that that's the type of information her VP likes to see. Healthcare is a very data driven industry. And so, we took that and leveraged it. And like you said, it made it visual. Another one said that they were, impressed with our depth of resources and specifically for the type of clinic that they are that serves the underserved community. So it's just really positive feedback. I think what I'm getting from it is that it's making a difference. Granted, it's not a single factor in closing business, but it's definitely helping to be that, one of those differentiating factors. Because we know that, the margins in which they pick us versus someone else are very slim. It's just like if you want a free checking account. Well, everyone offers a free checking account, but what's one company doing to kind of sway you a little bit and show that they truly value, who you are and that they really want you to be a customer? So it's been a wild success.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Well, I love the things that you're saying, Matt, the way that you guys are going to market, delivering value first. We're all about that here. And I love to hear other people sharing that same message. And hopefully listeners have gotten some tactical applications about how they could maybe apply this to their marketing and sales enablement pieces for their sales team. If anybody listening to this would like to reach out, ask you any follow-up questions, or learn more about Adaptive Medical Partners, Matt, what's the best way for them to reach out? Where can they find you?
I'm on LinkedIn, or they can email me at mdavis@adaptivemedicalpartners.com.
I love it. Well, Matt, this has been another great conversation. Thank you so much for sharing with listeners today, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Logan.
Digital marketing agencies have a tough job. You have to stay on top of the latest marketing strategies for your clients and your agency. What if there was a way you could address both at the same time? Imagine your agency putting out content with greater quality and quantity. Envision bringing your clients a turnkey solution for one of B2B marketing's fastest growing media strategies, podcasting. All those clients asking for your help with their account-based marketing efforts? Picture being the first to bring them the idea of content-based networking, showing them the proven strategy for breaking into their most coveted accounts. Here's the concept. Sweetfish Media is looking to work with a limited number of innovative agencies interested in a new partnership model. We produce a podcast for your agency. You introduce the power of podcasting and Sweetfish services to your clients. Everybody wins. Learn more at sweetfishpartners.com.